What's going on, everyone? Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome to a all about Venomous build showcase guide, whatever you want to call it. Those of you that have been around since day one, I guess, or been in the Discord, probably know a good bit about Venomous from everybody that's been talking about her. She is a support, I basically call her a support DPS. The way you want to basically build her, I'm sure that everybody has seen, is, well, why did it take me to my characters? You want to build her with ability power, crit rating, crit power, and then sprinkle in some survivability, health, defenses, everything like that. Now, from my testing of the character, I think I've put in probably close to 100 hours so far. There's a couple of weapons that work really well for her, depending on what kind of build you want to go for. The first one, of course, is the meta currently right now, which is the Tempest. That gun just shreds enemies and makes the content in this game very trivial. So if you're trying to be a meta min-maxer, I would highly suggest doing the Tempest. Continue, I mean, you can put some weapon power on the gun. It's going to help out a lot, but once again, you stack that on with her, you're already proccing her passive within two trigger pulls or 2 clicks, whatever you want to do, however you will playing the character, keyboard or mouse or controller. Therefore, it opens up the possibilities for her other abilities. Now, what I'm currently using is the Knight's Edge, which are a set of daggers, as you can see. The thing about the Knight's Edge is that there's a passive where you activate the ability, it summons 3, I guess, holographic or shadow daggers above her, but then which they home out and hit different enemies that are close to her. Now, if there's no one close to her, it's going to hit the same enemy, which basically makes this a boss shredder weapon type. The thing about the daggers, though, is that they also proc her passive, which is when she hits someone, they start taking with poison damage, and you have to get the 5 hits to get the cloud. But the original hit, that's already 1, so then you only have to hit the person 4 more times to get the cloud, so it reduces the actions per minute that you have to do for the character. 2 more weapons that I'm currently in favor of on her, but you can build this character however you want to build her. One being the Colossus. I've started working with this one just for the fact that it has two triggers. Basically, the first one that you do, it enhances the next ability that you do with that character. So if you hit somebody with the first ability, and let's say you do that in your ultimate, or do that in the poison grenade, or that in the poison needles, whatever you want to do, it enhances that by a percentage. The next one is just a quick swing, which will help you get your 5 hits for the passive. The fourth and last one, I mean, the Nightshade is a solid contender. It's not for me, but and you can build, of course, that's the beauty about this, you can build however you want, whatever you want. I would say would be one of the shields, and the one that I'm looking at is the Tooth and Claw. The reason for that being is that it has the ability to throw the shield and it bounces off of different enemies and it comes back to you. Only reason why I'm pushing for this shield, for those of you that are trying to follow this guide or trying to build your characters this way, is for the simple fact that once again, it hits them, it starts to proc to the poison, and then you can hit them 4 other times to get your poison clouds. And those are basically like the weapon types that I would, kind of look at if I was playing this character. However, once again, you can build the character however you want to build it, but ideally you still want to shoot for the ability power, crit rating, and then survivability. Now, for those of you that want to continue with the build that I'm specifically doing, as far as echoes, everything is pretty much the same thing. Ability power, the same thing that everybody's been stressing for the most part. However, there are a couple of caveats that I like to do for mine as far as the boss echoes that I like to use. The first one being Kolar the Beastmaster. The thing about this echo is that it has three different, once you crit, it has three different three different procs. So a 33% chance to hit one of these procs when you crit every 30 seconds. The two that on this echo that make it worthwhile are the bear and the panther. The bear, once it procs, it's the same thing as the daggers. If you hit them, they're gonna start bleeding out with they're gonna start ticking with the poison damage. And once again, you can keep adding on the hits with your daggers or whatever else you're using to get the poison clouds for your passive to roll into the other abilities that you want to do. The panther, as it just states clearly, as it states on here, this increases the crit rating, so therefore you're critting more, you're critting harder, well, you're critting more, not necessarily harder, but you're critting more, and it just snowballs into a whole slew of different things. The next one that I would highly suggest, and this one was pointed out by my friend Genma in the Discord, is the Argent Hand Echo. So this echo basically scales off of your ability power, which goes hand in hand in how you're trying to build the character. And it procs off of when you're using a weapon ability. So whatever weapon type you're using, I would honestly say it's more so for melee. That's why I have it on here, because it's easier to proc the melee abilities than it is for the ranged. I mean, at least for the Tempest from what I've seen, because you got to hit the little circle to get the bullet and everything like that. Whereas the daggers and daggers and the swords and the hammers, you just auto attack essentially, and you get your weapon ability like that. So those are the two that I would highly recommend if you're trying to build your Venomous like I'm building her. And I will continue to keep stressing this throughout the video. You do not have to build her exactly like I'm building her, but this is just a template for you guys to build your Venomous, and you may find something that works for you. Now, as far as abilities, since I'm more of a melee focused player, I more so leaned into the stuff that would help when I'm in ranged. When I'm in melee, excuse me. So the Vampiric Blast, I got it like I said, I've got it so I can proc it off of those poison clouds from her passive, Master of Venoms, to then amplify the amount of healing and the damage that is dealt to whatever I'm fighting. So for instance, I get the bear proc from the Kolar Echo. I hit the enemy 4 more times, he starts ticking out. I hit another enemy 4 more times, he starts ticking out. Throw down the Vampiric Blast, it soaks up both of those clouds, and I get like a 2k damage number, or whatever the case may be, just to give you guys an example of how I'd be playing it. Now, if I don't have the opportunity to get that, what I also do is I use the Venom Thrusters to just reposition myself and also create the Venom Clouds to once again throw out the Vampiric Blast to get significantly more damage than just throwing it out by itself. Now the ultimate, I got that more so for group play if I'm in a group and I need to heal them, but it seems like everybody's just potion spamming and everything like that, so it doesn't really has no use at the moment. But more so for like the world bosses, everything like that, I use my ultimate. It summons clouds when it comes down, the smoke clouds when it comes down, heals people in the area when it lands, and then I can also throw out my Vampiric Blast again to do more healing and more damage. So that's basically the rotation of that. Now if you're looking for more, the last thing I could possibly say for burst, what I would recommend is if you're fighting a boss, you get the 5 procs on get the 5 hits on the boss first, then proc your Daggerfall ability, because the Daggerfall ability will proc the poison from the passive when you hit somebody. So if you hit a boss, let's say for instance you summon 3 daggers, right, with the Daggerfall, then you're fighting a boss. All 3 daggers are going to hit the boss, and that counts as 3 hits. So therefore, you only have to hit twice to get your poison cloud. And then the boss is already taken from poison damage, which then rolls into what we're going to go next is the affinity portion, where I have an increased crit chance for hitting poisoned enemies. So just to give you an example of a damage number I've done, because I know a lot of people are all about numbers, I crit a boss for 18,000 earlier today, and I do have the footage of it that I can share with y'all, or whatever the case may be. If you want it, just, you know, ping me in Discord, or you can message me directly. Now for the infinity portion, to continue on, because I don't want to keep this video, you know, too long. I basically went 5 in instinct, 15 in discipline, 9 in focus. You can almost get to max 2, but you're going to be missing 1 in order to max out 2 different trees. The reason why I went 5 for instinct is because I want to increase the the poison damage that I'm doing to the enemies that I hit. And that's pretty much about it right there. I mean, I just left it alone after that. Discipline, because I'm more of a support player. I like healing. I like doing those things and helping out teammates, unless, you know, they're just being idiots. The first 5 points helps my survivability. So the more poison clouds I have, the more health I'm regenerating. So if you're in the fray, like what I'm doing with my character, if I have 3 poison clouds down, I'm healing 3% of my health every second, which is essentially keeping me alive and in the fight to help out any other melees or anything like that. Because like I said, the ranged characters, if you're using ranged weapons, you really shouldn't have an issue as far as taking damage. But if you're melee, it kind of gets rough at times. The second one, and this is why I really like speccing into this, because the poison eruption from my passive, which is that 5 hits that I was telling you guys about, it shoots out 3 healing lurchers at random nearby allies, which heals them. And the heal that I've seen from that has been maybe about 150 for each lurcher. And then, let me track back a little bit. The ultimate that I use, when it heals, I've seen it heal for about 250 per tick. And that's with the current ability power. I'm sure people can probably get it a lot higher than where I'm at right now, but I haven't pushed everything to the maximum yet. And the last little bit for this affinity perk is the toxin, unerring toxin, which gives me increased crit chance against poison targets. Which once again, it all ties into proccing that passive, and I can't stress that enough. Is proccing that passive, so that way it rolls into everything else really smoothly, and that's just more damage on top of that. As you can see, I haven't finished the weapon portion down here, but I believe once I finish everything, I should be around 2200, if not 2250, roughly, because I haven't finished my echoes or anything like that. Now for the last part, which is the mastery, I have maxed out my daggers, and the one I went with, and you can probably change this, parry is really good. It gives you a really good iframe to avoid a lot of damage, and I guess you would want that if you are a melee support user, or however you want to play your character. However, but this gives me increased crit chance for every point of flurry that I use. So if I have 3 points of flurry and I use them, I have 24% crit chance on top of what I already have. So basically I would assume I'm almost at 100%, because I don't know the exact numbers yet for the crit, the crit power and everything like that, and I'm sure we'll find that out very soon. But that's pretty much the basis of my character build and everything that I'm doing. I mean, the accessories and everything, you can build them how you want to build them, like to fill out the holes that you may be needing to fill. But once again, I push mostly for ability power, crit rating, crit power, and I left it alone at that, because there's not a whole lot currently that was killing me, unless the boss just drops all their abilities on me and I have nowhere to go. That's the only way I'm really dying. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to just @me on the Wayfinder Discord. I'll be happy to answer them. just at TAC, the at symbol in TAC. You can just ping me, and I'll get to your questions as soon as possible. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If there's anything else or any other suggestions you may have, I'm open to ideas. I feel like I've covered everything, but if there's anything I missed, just let me know and I'll be sure to get back to you on that. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great time in the game, and I'll see you around when I'm out there. Later.